Whether it's to prevent an injury or to prevent awkward stares, there are certain things that you definitely don't want to do at the gym. Over the years of working at gyms and opening up my own gyms, I've spent countless hours on the exercise floor and I've had the opportunity to see all kinds of different things. So today I want to go over 10 things you should never do at the gym. And the very first gym foul is leaving the equipment without wiping, especially if you're sweaty. I've seen some pretty disgusting things left on benches, mats, and machines that nobody should have to clean up except the person that left it there. Now, personally, I'm not the biggest germaphobe, but studies show us that some pieces of gym equipment routinely have more species of bacteria on them than toilet handles do. So even if you have a great immune system, others at the gym might not. And especially with everything that's going on, it's a good idea to wipe down your equipment when you're done using it. This is really easy to do as most gyms nowadays have complimentary sanitizing spray and paper towels that you can use to clean up after yourself. You should leave the equipment that you use in a condition that you wouldn't mind finding it in. And almost everyone I know would mind sweat stains all over the equipment, so make sure you wipe down after yourself. Let's move on to ego lifting. This is very common, especially for young people and beginners, because many times they feel like they have to prove themselves, especially if they're lifting with friends. So they assume that lifting a lot of weight will impress others. But guess what? Nobody cares. Almost everyone is too busy minding their own business, working on their own fitness goals. And when you lift a weight that's just too heavy for you to use with good form or a full range of motion, well, the benefits of that exercise quickly diminish. Performing quarter reps, bouncing the bar off your chest, or rounding your back are all ways to end up with an injury rather than seeing continuous progress. And don't get me wrong, I'm all for lifting heavy weight. I'm a big believer that you have to push yourself, and research shows us that we do need progressive overload to build more muscle and strength from our workouts over time. But if your form starts to become compromised or you start excessively cheating to complete your reps, you need to lower the weight to a weight that's still challenging but allows you to perform the exercise correctly. Then work up from there. As a general tip, if you're a beginner or even if you're intermediate and you're not training to be a powerlifter, there's pretty much no reason for you to be doing 1 rep max outs or even aiming for 2 reps. These lower rep ranges are usually the ones that lead to ego lifting, and even for advanced experienced lifters, really low rep ranges carry a higher risk of injury, especially if something goes wrong with your form. Next, I want to talk about grunting, which actually, believe it or not, might help improve your workout. We have a study that shows that vocalized exhalation, or in other words, grunting, was able to increase grip strength by 25% as opposed to passive breathing. Now, just because your grip strength increases, it doesn't necessarily mean that you'll be able to lift more weight or lift a weight for more reps. However, I'm sure grunting does help some people, whether it's a physical or psychological boost. This is why grunting should at least be allowed in all gyms. But please don't be that guy that grunts super loud on every single rep for every single exercise, because even though they probably won't say anything, everyone will find it extremely annoying and distracting. And some of the grunting noises that I've heard over the years sound plain weird. I think it's totally fine to grunt a bit when you're truly struggling, maybe on your last rep or 2 of each set, but some people grunt on every rep, even when doing exercises like curls or lateral raises, which makes absolutely no sense and it looks and sounds weird. Moving on to something else that you should never do is forget to wear deodorant or forget to shower daily. Seriously, hygiene in general is a huge issue for some people at the gym, and it's a very easily solvable issue with a shower, some soap, and some deodorant. I used to know one guy that would come to the gym and you could literally smell that he was there without even seeing him. Mind you, this gym was 30 to 40,000 square feet in size, and he had the remarkable gift of being able to stick up the entire place from corner to corner to the point that one of the managers had to let him know. This can physically distract people from their workout and make everyone's gym session much more unpleasant. So remember to wear deodorant, and I think it's pretty easy to make sure that you shower at least once a day. Another thing that you definitely shouldn't do is go around giving unsolicited advice to everyone. Most people at the gym are not looking for advice, even if they're doing an exercise wrong. Even as a trainer, most people don't want to hear what you have to say about their workout. This is because lifters tend to be stubborn. We all believe that our method of training is the best, and that's especially true for people that have been training for years. People that have been training for longer periods of time may still believe in old fitness myths that you've long since found out aren't true. Leave these people alone. Most of the time, you're just going to distract yourself from your workout and them from theirs, ultimately wasting both of your time. The worst part is that over the years, I've seen a lot of people giving bad advice in an attempt to help someone without knowing that person's specific issues. And the funny thing is, when I was working up to 60 hours a week at the gym, it would be much more common to see beginners going around giving other people advice. Meanwhile, I've almost never seen people that were more advanced or experienced doing this kind of stuff, which is pretty ironic. Also, I've consistently seen guys trying to correct a girl's form to start up a conversation, but from what I've seen, this usually doesn't end in any sort of romantic way. Instead, it's usually awkward and embarrassing for everyone involved. Now, if someone asks you for your advice, or you see a beginner making such a horrendous mistake that they're about to blow out a disc in their spine, then it's fine to give some quick advice and get back to your workout without any kind of expectation of them taking your advice. You also will want to make sure that you're not that guy that doesn't clean up his weights after he's done. After you finish your sets for each of your exercises, you should put your weights away. When you spend enough time at the gym, you'll see how this process goes. Usually, just one person ends up leaving their plates loaded on the barbells or the machines that they're using, and that leads other people to follow that same pattern. A frustrating example of this is when you go to the leg press machine that's fully loaded up with weights and you have to stand there cleaning up after someone else. You'll also see some people roll their weights under the dumbbell rack instead of putting them away, or they'll put the dumbbells or the plates away in the wrong order. What I mean is that they don't put dumbbells or the plates away in chronological order. This can be annoying with dumbbells, but it's especially annoying when you need a 10-pound plate and it's behind a bunch of 45-pound plates because someone decided to put their weights away in the wrong place. Then there's always the people that don't clean up at all and they just leave a mess on the floor. And like I said, people see this and they follow that pattern. Having worked at multiple gyms, I've seen people trip over weights that were left out and sometimes they would even hurt themselves. So clean up your weights. Placing them back is a part of your workout, and some people that are sharing the gym with you aren't strong enough to lift the heavier weights that you might be lifting. Another annoying thing that you don't want to do is perform your exercises directly in front of the dumbbell rack. This is a gym courtesy foul that many people do without realizing. When you grab a pair of dumbbells from the rack, don't stand straight in front of it to do your set of curls, lateral raises, or whatever exercise you'll be doing because it prevents others from grabbing the dumbbells that they need. Instead, simply taking a few steps back is usually enough to be considerate of others that need to use the dumbbell rack. You can also obviously bring them over to a separate space where you don't block other people from accessing the weights or moving around freely. Another huge no-no is spending too much time on your phone. Whether you're taking selfies or just wasting massive amounts of time in between sets texting, spending too much time on your phone can reduce the effectiveness of your workout and drag out the amount of time that you spend at the gym. For example, a study published in the Journal of Computers in Human Behavior looked at how texting impacted the training intensity of gym members. The researchers found that those who texted during a 20-minute workout spent almost 10 of those minutes in a low-intensity zone and only 7 minutes in a high-intensity zone. Meanwhile, participants that worked out without a phone spent only 3 minutes in low intensity and almost 13 minutes in high intensity. In other words, texting caused people to not train as hard, and I think it gets much worse than this study reveals. For example, getting distracted on your phone with texting or going on social media can lead you to taking such a long break that your muscles actually cool down between sets. On top of that, being on your phone prevents you from reaching a flow state while you're working out, and every time you knock yourself out of that state, it takes time without distractions to get back into that state. But one issue is that most of you will use your phone for music, so it's not like you can just get rid of it. So I suggest that you create a playlist before you go to the gym. Then when you get to the gym, press play, put your phone on silent, and don't look at it again until the end of your workout. Trust me, this will highly improve your workouts. Next, make sure that you're not hogging up too many pieces of equipment at the same time, especially when it's busy and it's clear that others might need to use that equipment. Supersets, paired sets, and circuit training all provide a great way to save time while maintaining the effectiveness of your workout. But if you're going to use these methods, make sure it doesn't get in everyone else's way. That means if the gym is crowded, it's going to be really difficult to tie up any more than one piece or two pieces of equipment at the same time. This isn't only an issue about other people, it's also about you. If you want to use two pieces of equipment on opposite ends of the gym for a superset and it's busy, there's a huge chance that someone will start using one of them in the middle of your set because they thought you were done. So if you are going to superset, I recommend sticking to just one piece of equipment, and then for the superset use dumbbells or a barbell that you can position close to that machine. Another great way to superset is by using the cable cross, where you can do something like raise the pulley and do tricep extensions, then you could lower the pulley and do bicep curls without running around or hogging up too much equipment. The last thing that actually goes hand in hand with ego lifting is comparing yourself too much to others. The reason why you shouldn't do this is because we all have different genetics, which is why the maximum rate that each of us can progress is different from person to person. For example, you have to look no further than a powerlifter named Andy Bolton, who happens to be the first man to ever deadlift 1,000 pounds. And according to Andy, the first time he ever squatted at 18 years old, he was able to lift 500 pounds. And for deadlifts, he was lifting 600 pounds on his first time. These are numbers that most highly experienced weightlifters are never able to reach. This is most likely due to genetics, which is why it's a bad idea to compare yourself to others. One huge determining factor for the amount of muscle that you can build and the amount of strength that you can gain that's based on your genetics is your frame. Research shows that most people with big bones and joints carry more muscle naturally than their slimmer built peers. Also, world-class bodybuilders, Olympic weightlifters, and powerlifters all have large frame sizes, making it a good predictor of success in the higher levels of these sports and competitions. Also keep in mind that some people at the gym use steroids. No matter how well you train and eat, there's a huge difference between how fast someone can grow with or without steroids. For example, researchers compared naturals to lifters taking exogenous testosterone, and they found that participants who trained naturally for 10 weeks gained on average 4 pounds of muscle. On the other hand, participants that were taking 600 milligrams of testosterone every week were able to put on 13 pounds of muscle in the same amount of time. That's 3 times more muscle. So focus all your efforts on just making a little bit of progress each week and month compared to yourself. Don't worry about others. So those are 10 of the top things that you should never do at the gym. Aside from those, I think it goes without saying that you shouldn't be walking around the gym feeling like you're superior to everyone else, even if you're the one in better shape than everyone else. Also within the gym, it's a pretty big foul to perform curls inside a squat rack, and everyone will find it funny if you do that. So take your barbell and curl outside the squat rack so others can do squats. That about wraps it up, guys. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel.